Welcome to Yours, Mine, Our Children, where youth have deep discussions about real life issues.
All right. We are back, and it is week 3. Let's give yourselves a big hand. Y'all did amazing last week in week 2. I am so proud of you guys. As you guys know, we are talking about grief this month amongst teens and youth and teens, should I say. And it gives me such a great honor to have these babies come sit and talk with me. I didn't know that I kind of knew this was going to be a tough conversation, but I didn't know it was going to be this tough. Like, I walked away last week and my heart was just heavy. But by the same token, I'm so excited because I get to build relationships with these babies and I get to impart into them and I get to help them along the way. So this is what YMOC is all about. Yours, mine, our children. They're speaking up, they're speaking out, and they're speaking about the things that they are going through in life. Last month we did peer pressure. This month we're doing grief. And I think next month we might do drugs and gangs. I'm going to just see how things flow. But anyways, right now I got my panel of amazing youth and teens, and what I would like to do is have them to introduce themselves. You guys, will start with you. We'll go around this ways today and just introduce yourselves and tell the people who you are, your age, and what do you like to do.
My name is Edwin T. I'm 13 and I like to play football in the game.
Edwin loves to play football. He has all the girls hoovering around him after each game. He has 15 girls that he has to decide who he's going to take to the prom this year. Nah, this is my sweet kiddo, Edwin. Thank you for being on the show with me today, Edwin.
Hey y'all, my name is Kari T. I'm 13 and I like to do hair.
Kari's still sticking with that beautician thing. Kari, I'm going to send you to beauty school. You can go be a beautician so you can come do Miss Felicia's hair, right? When we make it big, you going to come do my hair. All right, next.
Hi, I'm Darielle W. I'm 11 years old and I like to hang out with my friends.
Hi, Darielle W.
Hi, I'm JoJo D. I'm 15 and I like to hoop and play the game.
Hoop. You're a basketball player, JoJo?
Yes, ma'am.
JoJo, you got a girlfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
How many?
One.
Okay, we're going to stick with one, huh? That's good to know. And you sweet girl?
Hello, I'm Heaven S. I'm 18 and I like to play tennis.
Yay, that's right. Heaven is a tennis player and she's going to teach me how to play tennis, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I just ain't going to be running up and down that court imitator right now. All right, guys, we are going to dive in. Last week we kind of talked about coping skills with them in grief, how they cope, whether good, bad, or indifferent in our minds, but they're children. And at the end of the day, their way of coping may not be my way of coping. It may not be your way of coping, but we all have to cope when it comes to grief. And I want to ask a question to the audience that's tuning in tonight. How many of you guys have lost someone that you loved? After you answer that question, think about losing a parent at such a tender age. 11, 13, 15. I lost my mom, but I was grown. And the weight of it still follows me today. And I deal with grief how I deal with it. I deal with grief sometimes by shutting down. I deal with grief sometimes by exuberating myself. I work a lot. I deal with grief sometimes by simply just staying in the bed. There's been times I've just stayed in the bed and not did anything that day, right? And then there are times that I deal with grief simply by giving back and I help others. And so I shared with them that their opportunity right now to sit on the sofa with me and have this conversation is also an opportunity for them to help others who possibly could be going through grief at their age. And so you guys are getting a chance to impart into others. You're getting a chance to let others know that you're grieving and this is how you're dealing with it. But most importantly, y'all are showing the world that you are some strong, brave, awesome, amazing students. And I couldn't be any more proud of you guys. And I'm excited to have y'all on the show with me. But as I said, I'm super excited to build these relationships with you guys moving forward. So tonight, we're going to just dive in and ask some questions. I know you guys had some questions of me last week, and I consider myself a subject matter expert. So I'm going to throw out this disclaimer. What I tell my youth and teens typically may not always necessarily work for adults, but I'm skilled, I'm licensed, I'm trained, I'm certified to help our children. And so this is why I do what I do. And I want to make sure that as they ask me these questions, number one, I want to make sure that they have a safe haven. And then number two, I want them to know that as they ask me these questions, I'm going to give them the best advice that I can give them in order for them to go back home, go back to school or wherever and apply these principles in their lives so that it'll help them cope even more. So who wants to go first tonight? Who wants to ask me your tough questions? What's your question, JoJo?
How I go through the day without thinking about my mother.
How do you go through the day without thinking about your mother? Oh, that's a good question. A very good question. You don't. You don't not think about your mom. Okay? Those thoughts are real. What you think on a day-to-day basis, whether it's in the morning when you get up to get dressed and brush your teeth, or whether it's at night when you lay your head down and go to bed, you're going to think about your mom. Right? I told you it's 11 years for me and I'm still thinking about my mom. And so don't not think about her. Think about her. That's a good thing. Think about all the good times you had with her. Think about all the good things that she taught you. Think about all the places that y'all went. Think about all the things that y'all did together as mommy and son, right? And embrace those moments and be like, yeah, we really did have some good times together. And although you don't get to have that opportunity anymore, just continue to focus on the good that you have with your mom. I don't mean to not acknowledge your feelings, but we said this last week. You had 11 years of life with your mom, and she had 4. So you had some really good opportunities that you've had time to build those bonds and those relationships with your mom, so much so that at 15 you can still think about her. So don't suppress it. When you think about her, I told y'all, we're not talking to the dead, but when you think about her, like I told you, I go home sometimes and I be like, Mom, I hope I made you proud. It's okay to do that, right? And so as you think about her, one of the things that let me help you with this, okay? One of the things that I've learned in life is oftentimes we ask ourselves questions, but we don't give ourselves the answer. I can be driving down the road and I can think, well, what am I going to eat tonight? And before you know it, my mind is on something else. So I never resolved what am I going to eat tonight, although I asked myself that question. And so a lot of times we have to answer our own questions, right? When you think about your mom, what are you thinking? When you think about your mom, where are you? Is it at school? Is it at home? Is it in everywhere you go? And that's a good thing. And can I tell you why? Because that means she's with you. That means her presence is surrounding you. She's with you everywhere you go. And I'll tell you to take that with you. Walk away knowing that your mom, we all have different beliefs and religions and all of that. I ain't saying your mama physically walking here on earth with you, but her presence, her spirit, it's here. It's watching you. It's embracing you. And so the other thing that I want to say to you, JoJo, is that when you think about her, also think about what you're doing at the time, at the moment. And do what I do. Mom, I hope I'm making you proud. Right? When you're going through the day and you think about your mom, okay, Mom, I'm gonna go to 5th period. I'm gonna be a amazing kid in this classroom just for you. And that'll kind of start changing your perspective to doing things the right way because you're doing it in honor of your mom. Does that make sense? What do y'all think? All right. Anybody else got another question?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
How do you deal with like your brother
sibling
trying to like take the spot of your parent?
Not do that.
Siblings, here we go. Good question though. Good question. So, Elgin, you trying to be Cariana's daddy? Let me say this. Can I say this? And this is the one thing that I want to say to you guys. All of y'all, except for you, Darielle, have siblings, right? You have to slow down sometimes and remember that your sibling is grieving too. And your way of grieving may not necessarily be his way of grieving. But you have to be able to accept the fact that, Elgin is, 15? 13? Okay. Dad's no longer around. And as a young man growing up, I'm not saying that you do, but he may have that mindset or that responsibility that he's the man now, or he's the big brother, and perhaps dad left him responsible, or he feels like dad left him responsible to take care of you guys because you got your mom and now your baby brother. And so what you might see as him trying to father you is merely him trying to protect you. Or it may be that he's trying to show you love in a sense that you feel like he's agitating you or he's bugging you or he's getting on your nerves, and he may too just be crying out for help. Or he may be grieving at the time. One of the things that I say to you guys as siblings, and we talk about this all the time in my counseling sessions, and that is have those conversations. Sit down and talk to your sibling. Like, hey, how are you coping? How was your day? How did you get through this today? You guys just had a momentous moment last weekend. Y'all celebrated yet another year, or your dad's birthday, right? Mm-hmm. And so that moment, I'm sure, opened up so many wounds and so many thoughts and so many things that y'all had to go through just trying to get through the weekend. This being another anniversary of not having your dad here. And so in that, emotions probably was flying high or low. You know, you could be sad one minute, happy the next. But as siblings, y'all have to remind each other that we both lost our parent, right? It's not just you grieving, it's not just you, but the both of you guys are grieving. And so the best advice that I can give you is that when you find yourself in those moments that you're kind of feeling like he's trying to parent you, have that conversation with him. You know, JoJo, not JoJo, you know, Elgin, I know you want to protect me, but I don't need you to be my daddy. Look at that look. You're going to have that conversation with him, right? Because I'm teaching you, remember, speak up, speak out, and speak about. Have those conversations. Bring him in your room and sit down and be like, look, hey, how was your day? What's going on? You miss dad, don't you? That's why you had to stand behind me at the mall and try to protect me from those boys that was watching me, right? Whatever the case may be, bring it to his attention, because he may not even realize that he's doing that, right, Elgin? Like, he may not even realize that he's doing that. And so in your mind, you're pushing back because he's agitating you. But in his mind, he's pushing forward because he's protecting you. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. Next, anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
How do you not feel resentful when you're with your friends and you see them with their parents?
Woo! Woo! How do you not feel resentful when you're with your parents, when you're with your friends and they're with their parents, but you're not with yours? So I'm going to talk to you on your level, okay? I'm not going to give you advice from an adult standpoint, but I'm going to talk to you on your level. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like your friends was hating on you, or they was jealous of you, or they didn't like you because you had on a new pair of shoes? Have you ever felt like that? Okay. And that didn't feel good, right? Because in your mind, you're thinking, why are they jealous of me? Why are they biting on me? Why are they upset at me because I got on a new pair of shoes? Like, I thought we were friends. And so, as children, even as adults, we all grow up sometimes seeing other people with more and or less than what we have. And if you don't guard your heart, and I'm going to tell you what I mean by that in just a second. But if you don't guard your heart, those thoughts will start creeping in and you will become resentful. You and I talked about this at one of our sessions where you went to the party and all your friends' parents were there. And I can only imagine how you felt. But I want to make sure that you protect your heart so much so that you don't become resentful, right? You don't want to be jealous or envious of people. And then even so much about the material things that you get jealous or envious about. Sometimes we can get jealous about things like this. People have what you don't have. And so to guard your heart simply means, I may not have my parent, but if this is my girlfriend and we close, I'm happy that she has her mom. Right? Keep your heart pure. Keep your heart open. Keep your heart clean, so much so that you're not resentful or envious of somebody else. And know, Dario, know that It's okay to feel what you feel. It's okay to feel that, like, I wish I had my mom. It's okay to feel that. Like, you don't want to go to the parties and get dressed for the prom and all of that, and all your friends around you, their moms taking pictures and snapping shots, and here you don't have your mom. So what you feel is real. Process that, but don't put your friends in it, or don't include them in it and be like, oh, I can't stand her because she got her mom. No, baby. That's your friend. And remember, you and I talked about this too. Sometimes it'll be good to even embrace your friends' moms. Like if you go over and spend the night at one of your friends' house, have conversations with your friends and their moms, or watch them. Observe how your friend communicate with her mom. Right? Those are lessons that you'll learn so that when you have your children, you'll be able to be there for them. Because you're growing up not having your mother. Thank God your aunt is teaching you, but you're not getting the mother skills to become a mom, so you have to observe it from those around you. Does that make sense? You have to observe, and then so a lot of times when God put us in positions, it's to apply. It's for us to use those lessons that we learn and to apply them. So when you're around people and you feel like, oh my God, they got their mom and I don't, learn how they're building those relationships with their moms. Learn how they're fighting with their moms. Your teenage girlfriends that have arguments with their moms. Be like, girl, I wish I had my mom. I tell some people all the time, I wish I had my mom to argue with from time to time. Right? And so have those conversations, those tough conversations with your friends, but guard your heart, baby. And it's hard sometimes to do. And that's why I want to talk to you, like I said, on your level. Don't let it creep into your heart, because you'll forever walk around and be angry and upset and mad at people because they have their mom and you don't. And that's not the life I want you to live. I want you to be free. I want you to be happy. And embrace your TT. Embrace your aunt. Know that she's there to support you. Know that she's got you. She's going to do whatever she's got to do. She was right there snapping pictures too. So as you grow older and older, just remember that God has allowed somebody to be there for you. And allow that person, your aunt, to be to you what you need her to be on any given day. Make sense? You good? You got a question? You're the last one. What's your question, dear?
So me and my brothers are fostering our pain separately, therefore we're not bonding. How can we foster our pain together, therefore we have a stronger bond?
So you got three brothers, two siblings and you. So there's three of y'all in the house, and y'all are grieving the only way you know how. Most times you go in your room, and help me if I'm wrong, you may close your door and grieve. Your brother goes in his room, closes his door, and grieve. Your baby brother, I can only imagine what he's going through, because he's looking to y'all, the older ones, and he's seeing that y'all are shutting off. And at what, 12? 12? He now doesn't have a mom, and now he's distanced from his siblings. I'm not going to ever ask you to take on the role of your mom for the sake of your sibling, but I'm going to ask you to be that role model that your baby brother needs right now. And so what that looks like, I don't know if when mom was alive, if you guys sat at the table and had dinner together, start back doing those things. Start back doing the things that you guys did when mom was there, in order to keep a balance with y'all, right? Give yourself space. Give each other that space. But y'all got to figure out how to pull it back in together. Let's go to the movies tonight, guys. Start doing some things differently versus just kind of being away from each other, and grieve. Pull together and grieve. I don't know if y'all have had conversations, and yours is fairly new, just happened in June of last year. So I don't know if you guys have had those conversations. Like, how are you coping? Have you ever thought about asking your brothers that?
I've thought about asking them, but they're not really coping.
And that's okay, because they're shielding, numbing their pain, right? They're not ready to talk about it. And so the more you bring them together, the more it's going to create the environment that's going to be conducive for you guys to have those conversations. And so my only recommendation at this point is not to force anything. Don't, hey guys, come on, let's sit down and talk. No, y'all want to talk to me today. We're going to talk about this. No, that's not how we're going to do it. But we're going to start creating environments that's conducive for them to come sit down at the table with you and y'all have discussions about your grief and what you're feeling. And if you need Miss Felicia to come and intervene and do some interventions, I don't mind. But I think the most important thing is you guys have got to learn how to start talking, because I can only imagine the silence that's in y'all's house now, and we've got to figure out a way to bring back life into the house. Does that make sense? Okay, so your takeaway would be to go home and figure out a way, because you're strong. God has graced you to do this, and you're 18 and you're the big sister now. You figure out a way to bring your brothers back together. And although they may not be open to having conversations about mom right now, we can have conversations about life. We can have conversations about school. Little brother, how was school today? One of the things that I do suggest is that you guys pay close attention to him, because he's 12. And the last thing you want is at the age of 12 is for him to shut down and not feel like he doesn't have anybody to go through. So as you process your grief, process it however you do, but bring your brothers along with you. Invite them to the journey. And that's not to say we're going to come together and have a pity party. That's to say we're going to come together and talk however we need to talk today. We got to sit at the table and just cry and hug each other and break down. We're going to do that. But next week we're going to come together, we're going to laugh and have fun and enjoy the moment. How's that sound? Okay. Look at that smile on your face. Amazing. All right, guys. Anybody else? Y'all got any more questions? How y'all feel?
Good.
So this show has been a show where I was not expecting them to come out here and smile and be happy and jovial, and it is what it is. It's reality. These babies have lost their parents. You got 2, 3, 4 have lost moms. I'm sorry, 3 have lost moms, 2 have lost their dad. And it's got to be the hardest thing that I'm sure all of y'all have had to endure in your life. My only intent with this was to let the world know that our children are grieving too, that they're hurting, that they're going through things just like we go through. And unfortunately, for the bulk of them, we've got to provide those resources for them. We've got to provide the support. We've got to provide services. But unfortunately for them, as I was about to say, they're grieving in silence. They're grieving in their own way. They're grieving behind closed doors. You heard all of them say, most of them go home and they close the door. They're grieving, and we've got to be able to figure out a way to let our children know that it's okay to grieve, but I don't want you to stay there, right? You can't get stuck in where you are today. But more than anything, take a look around the room. Look at each other. I want you guys to all look at each other. Heaven, look at your friends back here. All of y'all have one thing in common, including me, and that is grief. And I don't care what nobody's saying. I don't care how you slice it. Grief is real. And how you deal with it is how you deal with it. It's not good, bad, wrong, or indifferent. As long as it doesn't break the law, you're good. But I say to you guys, grieve as much as you need to. Don't let nobody tell you not to cry. Don't let nobody tell you that, oh, it's going to be okay. Your mom wouldn't want you to grieve. Yes, she would. You're hurting. There's a distance. There's a void, right? And so as y'all continuously grow up in life, I need each one of y'all to listen to me one last time. This is my last thing I'm going to say. We're going to get out of here. But I want you to find one person as you grow up that you can reach back and that you can pull along the way with you, whether it be your brother or whether it be another friend at school that's lost their parent, or whether it be, again, the sibling. Find somebody that you can impart into. Yes, sir.
You know my friend who house I'm going to after this? I say God made me and him friend, because both our mamas not alive.
Wow.
Both our mama names start with a K.
Wow.
And our birthday 3 days apart.
Wow, look at that. And oh, I got chills. So it's amazing how God will connect you with the right people. You got to keep your heart open, be receptive. Allow people to come into your heart and help you. Allow people to come there and be there for you, right? I'm glad you said what you said, because now you're not grieving alone. Here you got a good friend who's going through the same thing that you've gone through, and y'all can feel each other's pain. Y'all understand each other. What y'all saying in y'all's age, y'all feel each other, whatever y'all say. So y'all have that relationship that y'all are building. One thing I'd like to do with you, Heaven, and I know there's a reality, y'all. Y'all know me. Whenever I feel a need and I see children that are hurting, and we've done so many things in the community, and I'm going back to that. I've got to go back to making sure that we tend to our children and meeting them where they are. But Heaven, I just met her today, I kid you not. And she and I'm going to provide some counseling sessions to her, hopefully be able to reach out to her brothers and help them as well. But they're alone, y'all. And they're living in the home, the three of them together. Does Grandma stay there too? She comes over every day from time to time. But outside of that, it's the three of y'all in the house now, right? And so they got bills, they got life, they got groceries, they got all the things that we as adults have to do and tend to. That is now their responsibility. She said it, like she's working a part-time job, and you're in school, and you play tennis. So I'm so proud of you. Like, you're keeping it together, girl. But what I want to do, y'all, for those of you that are listening, for those of you that are tuning in, if you would inbox me, I want to set up I don't want to do a GoFundMe. I'm not into those GoFundMes. But I want to adopt this family. I want us to take them up under our wings. I know under Smart Scholars Foundation, we're going to adopt you guys. And then, of course, under YMOC, I'm going to provide services and counseling to you guys. And then I'm going to ask my audience to join me. I want to be able to assist you guys. Let's you and I sit down. Let's talk about your needs. Let's find out what y'all need in the home so that we can continuously help you sustain and maintain. And let's provide some support to these babies, guys. All right? Because that's what we're here for. I'm going to always be here to support you guys. I'm going to always be here. I told Kurt, I'm coming to your graduation. I'm going to be right there when you get married, and I'm going to be right there when you have your first child. So y'all are stuck with me, right? So enjoy life. Know that I'm here with you guys. And this has been week 3. Grief is real. Next week, we're going to come back, and I'm going to bring on some more subject matter experts with me. I have another counselor and therapist that's going to join me. And we're going to talk about the aspects of youth and teens grieving. We want to continuously provide those resources to you as parents to help your children. And then most importantly, I want to be able to make sure that our kids are getting the resources that they need. And so if you guys can have them to tune in next week, we're definitely going to be shooting out some nuggets, shooting out some resources and some different things that you guys can do at home to help recreate the life that you once had prior to losing your loved ones. Okay, let's give it up one more time for my panel. You guys are amazing, amazing, amazing. I knew this was going to be a tough conversation, but we got through it. And thank you guys. Thank y'all for being a part of the show. I wasn't going to rely too much on them to talk and have to expound on their situation. That's not what this was about. But this was merely about letting you guys know and understand that they're grieving too. So until next time, thank you for tuning in to YMOC Speak. Yours, mine, our children. They're speaking up, they're speaking out, and they're speaking about the things that they're going through in life.
Thank you for watching this episode of YMOC Speaks. Tune in next week for another deep discussion with our youth.